Hi everyone, my name is Julie Knapp, and this is my Humanities Midterm PowerPoint presentation. The subject I chose was the Italian painter and architect Raffaello Sanzio da Urbino. Raphael was born March 28, more commonly known as just Raphael, and died April 6, 1520, at just the age of 37. Together with Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci, he forms the traditional trinity of great masters of that period. He was celebrated for the perfection and grace of his paintings and drawings. He was extremely productive despite his death at such an early age. A large body of his work still remains, especially in the Vatican. His work covers 3 time periods: Italian Renaissance, High Renaissance, and the Renaissance. Raphael, the early years. Raphael's father, Giovanni Santi, was a painter for the Duke of Urbino. He taught Raphael the basic painting techniques. Raphael was just 11 when his father died, and then he had to take over his father's workshop. Raphael was very successful and quickly was considered one of the town's finest painters. Raphael's work. Raphael was the leading figure of Italian High Renaissance classicism. He is best known for his Madonnas, especially the Sistine Madonna, and for his large figure compositions in the Palace of the Vatican in Rome. In the palace, there are 4 rooms, which are called Stanza de Raffaello, and their names are the Room of Signature, the Room of Heliodorus, the Room of Borgo Fire, and the Room of Constantine. Each room had its own theme. Another one of Raphael's better-known pieces is the Sistine Madonna. It's an oil painting that was an altarpiece commissioned in 1512 by Pope Julius II and was one of Raphael's last Madonnas painted. The painting was relocated to Germany, Dresden, Germany, in 1754. And then after World War II, it was relocated to Moscow for a decade before returning to Germany. In the painting, the Madonna is seen holding the Christ child and surrounded by Saint Sixtus and Saint Barbara, and then 2 cherubs below. The Raphael rooms of the Vatican. The 4 Raphael rooms are commonly referred to as the stanza. They were originally intended to be a suite of apartments for Pope Julius II. He commissioned Raphael to redecorate the existing interiors of the rooms entirely. These rooms belong to the Vatican Museums in Rome and are visited by over 4 million people a year. The rooms are sometimes referred to as the papal apartments. Papal is another word for pope. And here are 2 paintings. One is from the Room of the Heliodorus, and the other, which features Plato and Aristotle, is from the Room of the Signatura. The 4 Raphael rooms form a suite of reception rooms in the palace, which is the public part of the papal apartments in the Vatican. They are famous for their frescoes, painted by Raphael in his workshop. Together with Michelangelo's ceiling frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, they are the grand fresco sequences that mark the High Renaissance in Rome. And here are 2 other paintings. The first one is the Oath of St. Leo III, which is in the Room of the Borgo Fire. And the other one is the Vision of the Cross, which is in the Room of Constantine. Raphael's final piece was called the Transfiguration. This was his last painting that was completed just before he died in 1520. It was commissioned by Pope Clement VII, and it served as an altarpiece for a cathedral in France. The painting exemplifies Raphael's development as an artist. In the painting, Christ is shown on Mount Tabor, Moses and Elijah floating towards him, John and James are kneeling at the right, and Peter is to the left. Raphael's primary teachers in Florence were Leonardo and Michelangelo. Raphael differed from Leonardo and Michelangelo, who were both painters of dark intensity and excitement, whereas Raphael had a calmer and more extroverted style. Raphael was handsome with great personal charm, in addition to his impressive artwork. He eventually became so popular that he was called the Prince of Painters. The decoration of the stanza de la Signatura was perhaps Raphael's greatest work. Raphael was one of the finest draftsmen in the history of Western art and used his drawings extensively to plan his compositions. Thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you learned a little bit about Raphael, the famous Italian painter and architect.